Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. A quick reminder, I'm ending this listing for the mug Thursday at midnight, so 2 more days to grab one if you are interested. And at the end of the episode, there is a quick video about this that had me dying last night from Twitter, so I wanted to share that with you guys. But getting right into it, some huge news from Ford. So as you can see, they are looking to spend $11.4 billion on 3 battery factories and a truck plant, expecting to create around 11,000 jobs. Now, this isn't necessarily a bet the company type of bet financially speaking. However, it is one of those there's really no turning back type of bets. And this is a huge dice roll. What's nice for Tesla is they were able to incrementally prove that EV demand for their brand, whereas Ford doesn't really have that yet. They have the Mach-E and some initial sales data, which is, solid, I guess one could say. But I would equate this type of bet to if we went back in Tesla's history before they had any Gigafactories and they said at once, okay, we're going to build Giga Nevada, Giga Shanghai, and Giga Texas, where they really only have initial Model S sales on a very small scale. So as you can imagine, that's a huge risk that they're willing to take, basically expecting that they have some level of demand. Now, sure, maybe they have around 150,000 reservations for the F-150 Lightning, but how many of those will convert? But I have to admit, I give them credit for this move. This is not a dip your toes in the type of water. This is not a Toyota dragging your feet through the sand. This is a pretty much we're going all in type of move. This should enable Ford to produce more than 1 million electric vehicles per year in the second half of this decade. Ford and a South Korean supplier, SKI, will spend $11.4 billion combined. And as mentioned, they're expecting 11,000 new jobs over the next 4 years. William C. Ford said, "I think the industry is on a fast road to electrification, and those who aren't are going to be left behind." Well, we've been saying this for some time now. Ford said it would build 2 battery plants in Kentucky and 1 in Tennessee, all in a joint venture with, as mentioned, SKI from South Korea. In addition, the company will build an assembly plant at the Tennessee location to churn out electric pickup trucks. Ford will invest $7 billion and SKI will kick in the other $4.4 billion. And Mike Ramsey, a Gartner analyst, kind of echoed what I said earlier. The fact they're spending billions of dollars means they're saying there's no turning back. We are really going to do this, and there's grounds to have real concerns about where demand will actually be. There are a lot of people out there saying this is going to be too little, too late for Ford, and I understand why they're saying it. 1 million vehicles per year, whether it's 2027 or sometime around 2030, I get it. But I would pump the brakes on that because for other automakers not named Tesla, it's going to be very difficult to get to volume production of compelling electric vehicles, including pickup trucks, even in the next few years. So I think the best way to look at it is, okay, right now, who is all in the most outside of Tesla? And this move by Ford would put them near the top of the list, probably right next to Volkswagen, in my opinion. Next up, a rabbit hole hunt on the battery pack size for Lucid. So this is an application for certification, and if you scroll down, we get some official information, this from the EPA. So as you can see, the voltage of the battery pack's 924, remember that number. And then over here we have battery energy capacity at 150. Now, this is not necessarily the pack size in terms of kilowatt hours because there's no designation, so maybe it's amp hours. And if we go to this handy dandy calculator and type in 150 amp hours and 924 volts and convert, that would give us 138.6 kilowatt hours. So 138 kilowatt hours is a possible size for one of the new Lucid battery packs. There's plenty of speculation it was going to be between 113 and 150, and I'd be fairly confident in saying at least one of the packs will be this 138 kilowatt hour size, which if true would mean yes, it is in the same ballpark as the Tesla efficiency, so well done, but definitely not leaps and bounds ahead like some were speculating. CNN shared an article, "Automakers' problems are much worse than we thought," to which I would say, nope, we have known that they are in big trouble. We've been saying it for seemingly months, if not years now, so glad to see you caught up, CNN. Piper Sandler came out with a new bullish note on Tesla. A couple of the quick highlights. They said, "We think Q3 will be Tesla's strongest quarter ever, and we are increasing our 2021 estimates accordingly. We now think Tesla will deliver 894,000 vehicles in 2021. This versus the previous estimate of 146,000. Their Q3 estimate is 233,000 following all of these strong production reports." Very important note here, he said, "People often focus on deliveries, but this metric probably gets too much airtime. We are more more interested in margins, I totally agree. And they think margins could be particularly strong in quarter three. And their DCF-based price target is unchanged at $1,200 per share. They also included pages and pages of charts and graphs, so if you're into that, I have linked this document below. Good news for Australia's biggest battery pack, as it was given the all clear after the Megapack fire investigation. And this is the 450 megawatt hour Victorian big battery that caught fire during the testing phase. The most likely root cause of the incident was a leak within the Megapack cooling system that caused a short circuit that led to a fire in an electronic component. This resulted in heating that led to a thermal runaway and fire in an adjacent battery compartment within one Megapack, which spread to an adjacent second Megapack. Neoen said these events occurred while the Tesla Megapack was offline in a service mode after being operating for 13 hours in the commissioning process. Going offline removed fault protections and meant that the fault was able to go undetected, and it initiated a fire in the adjacent battery compartment. And the silver lining through these actions, Tesla has improved the detectability and associated fault protection against these type of rare events. Next up, I shared this feature request from Reddit over on Twitter, basically having the option to select highways instead of back roads on the navigation, so you can kick back and relax and let Navigate on Autopilot take you, instead of maybe a route is, 2 to 5 minutes shorter taking back roads, having the option to select highway driving only. I think that would be a nice feature. Let me know, would you agree, or am I the only one here? Yesterday afternoon, Sawyer shared that Tesla last week filed a trademark application for the Cyberquad, the electric ATV, but this trademark registration is intended to cover the categories of clothing, namely t-shirts, shirts, jackets, hats, infant wear, footwear, and pants. So I really don't think this timing has anything to do with the actual production of the Cyberquad itself, other than confirming that at some point in the future, Tesla does definitely indeed to build it, which we kind of have been expecting all along, but it's good to get this confirmation. And if I had to guess the timing of the production of the Cyberquad, I would say that Tesla's goal is to have it line up with Cybertruck production, as they do go hand in hand, and I would expect production to be at Giga Texas. Next up, here we have it. Elon sets the bar for how to get the FSD beta, and the bar is higher than I think a lot of people were hoping for, unfortunately, but this is what it is. Late last night, Elon said, wow, a lot of interest in the FSD beta. The plan is to roll out version 10.2 midnight Friday, then on ramp around 1,000 owners per day, prioritized by safety rating. He then corrected himself, saying, apologies, 10.2 release will be a week from Friday. So not this coming Friday, but the following, which would take us to October 8th. Then Zach asked him, what's the minimum safety rating to get the beta? Elon said the first few days, probably 100 out of 100, so a perfect score. Then after that, we'll go down 99, then down to 98, etc. So I think some people were expecting a pool, maybe all scores above 90 were going to be in this pool, and then Tesla would select from there. But as you can see, we're going to go from the very top, the most pristine scores, and down. But adding 1,000 users per day means that Tesla will effectively double the size of the testing program, as right now it's assumed that there's roughly 2,000 people with the FSD beta actually testing it. So if they add 1,000 new users per day within 2 days, now it's going to be doubled. And unfortunately, there's no information right now as to how many people requested in or hit the button. And Rob asked the question that I think a lot of us are wondering, when is this single stack coming? Will it be with 10.2? Now, for me, this feels like a type of update that should get a whole level jump. Like this should be a version 11 type of release, because Elon has made it seem like this single stack is a really big deal. But the counter argument is that Elon has hyped up many of these releases. So what do you guys think? Single stack coming on 10.2, or should it be version 11, something like that? But a very important note about these safety scores. So some people were complaining yesterday about their scores being dinged when they were on autopilot, but apparently that is false. The documentation for this new FSD beta says that autopilot is not actually included in your score rating. Fear and Light shared that even the documentation says autopilot will not flag when it comes to the Tesla safety score, so I wanted to clear that up. And Erase the Noise confirmed, we don't need anecdotal evidence. It says right on the FAQ that anything that happens while autopilot is engaged does not count against you, but the miles will be added to your overall total. And on a lighter note, and comical for us but not the users, some people were saying how they were working really hard to get their scores up, and then their spouse ended up taking their car and driving it during this 7-day period, and they were essentially crushing their scores and basically putting them out of the running to actually getting the FSD beta, which is very disheartening. But You probably should have told your spouse what's going on so they are aware of this testing period. So you have about 9 or 10 days to get your score up as close to 100 as you can. As mentioned, I want to leave you with that quick Twitter video. I'm going to try to find it, but at the moment, Twitter is having some difficulty, so I'll work on that in the editing phase. But that is all for today. Please take a second to like the video if you did. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and a big thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.
¿Cuál es el trabajo más duro que has hecho?
Lo que me mandaba el cocinero. Limpiar la lechuga, hacer aliño, limpiar pescado, y lo que me pasó con el cocinero que me echaron.
¿Qué te pasó?
¿Sí? ¿Y qué sabes tú hacer en la cocina? Limpiaba el pescado, fregar, hacer el arroz, o tú vas a estar aquí de pinche. Pero como va a ser el primer día, mira, vamos a fregar todo lo que hay aquí, y ya mañana hablaremos. Tú sabes que cuando coges un restaurante nuevo, todo limpieza, para mañana inaugurarlo.
Claro.
Y eran las 2 de la noche y dice, bueno, vas a descansar ya. Se ha limpiado la cocina, todo, que mañana se inaugura el restaurante. Coge las 20 paelleras esas, y estaban en su mojosa. ¿Sabes? Coge una cuerda, las amarra y te vas ahora a la playa. Bueno.
En los naranjos.
Bueno, el que está arriba. Y Risita, coge las 20 paelleras, las amarra y las entierra en el agua. Y acuérdate, a donde las echas, que mañana tienes que ir. Y me acuesto en ya para abrir el restaurante que era el arroz. Todo despeinado porque no me dio tiempo nada ponerme las chanclas. Voy a la playa, había subido la marea. ¿Y tú? ¿Tú? Había subido la marea y encontré una paella. Y la encontré porque estaba la paellera agarrada metida entre las piedras de Chipiona, del faro. Y cuando entro en el restaurante me ve el cocinero con una paellera y a ver la 20 paelleras. ¡Asómate! ¡Mira dónde llega el agua! Llegaba el agua hasta el restaurante. Había subido la marea. ¿Y tú? ¡Ay, qué hacemos ahora! Con los 2 sacos de arroz.